Hey, this is Michael Bohm with Youth Apologetics Training. Today, we're going to start a new series. We're going to talk about slavery and the Bible. Guys, this is huge. Does the Bible condone slavery? And we're going to look at this. This has been an issue for me as a Christian that has sat in the background and nagged at me for years. I've had answers for some of this, but there's been a few aspects of this series that we're about to get into here that I've never taken the time to look into. They've just sat there in the back of my mind nagging at me. And by the time I get to a computer and try to study it up, I've forgotten. Only to come up later when I'm reading something or I hear some atheist speak and, and I get thinking about it. So, what are these atheists saying? Because usually this is an attack of atheism, right? It's surely not an attack of Islam because, well, they certainly do support slavery in certain aspects. But as I was tooling around on the internet, and I'm looking at different atheist forums and different websites, different articles, I come across different accusations, different things that people are saying about about slavery. And for example, let's look at some stuff. I went to the Conversational Atheist, who, by the way, seems like a very likable guy, honestly. I wouldn't mind talking to the guy because he's not the typical new atheist in your face, slinging mud at you and calling you names, which, my goodness, come on, grow up. It's amazing to me, here I go with another rabbit trail, it's amazing to me nowadays that people consider that a good argument. Just simply calling names and slinging mud. That's not an argument. That's something you say. Mudslinging and calling names, that's something you do when you don't have a good intellectual leg to stand on. It's something you do when your arguments have no merit. So, anyway, all right, rabbit trail done. Let's get back to the Conversational Atheist. He said things on his website like, well, it would be pretty easy for the Bible to simply state that slavery is not supported. It's not condoned in the Bible. Consider Article 4 of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And by the way, guys, I'm not quoting him directly at this point. So, anyway, this Article 4 says, no one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all forms. And so basically he argues that since the Bible does not categorically deny it, it pretty much supports it. But hey, wait, hold on. I'm not building a straw man. Some of you are going, wait, that's not what it says. Well, he does go on and he cites some scriptures. And by the way, if you read them out of context, ouchie. Yeah. He also says, and this is a direct quote, he says, apparently God never figured out that slavery was wrong. Or he does have a moral issue with slavery. It is just that he is, or he does have a moral issue with slavery. It is just that he is a terrible communicator. All right. And he goes on and he quotes some scriptures that we most certainly will get to in this series. I do suspect that the series will not be terribly long, but it will not be short either. Because I want to give this topic a thorough look. Okay, I want to hit it from all sides because this is huge. And this is a big deal. How about this one? And you're going to see these accusations all over the internet. You're going to hear them in atheist circles everywhere you go. I went to one website, evilbible.com. Okay, this is more of in the line of the new atheist style. My goodness, mudslinging are us. I mean, that's what you get when you go to that website. But he says things like, and these are not direct quotes, but I'm just giving you the spirit of what he's saying. The Bible condones holding slaves as property. The Bible condones beating your slave as long as he doesn't die for a few days. Check this out, guys, and for the purposes of making you sweat. Because I want you to understand, if you don't feel the heat on this topic, perhaps you haven't been exposed to it long enough. Exodus 21 verse 20 says, if a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod, and he die under his hand, he shall surely be punished. Notwithstanding, if he continue a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his money. Whoa! So check that out. Is that what it's saying? If a man beats his servant and the servant lives for a few days and then dies, that's okay? Or, just for that matter, is it okay to beat up your servant? There's also accusations on the internet that the Bible says it's okay to rape your slave. Or just force your slave, well, okay, that's rape. Force your slave to have intercourse with you. Because, they're possessions. And there are scriptures that kind of give you that feeling. How about this one? And I basically got this one from evilbible.com, but you can feel this one out all over the internet. Your slave can go free after 7 years, the year of Jubilee. We'll get into that. But a slave owner is encouraged to keep the family that is given to a slave. So a male family receives a family, a wife, and then this slave has children with this wife. And then the slave owner is encouraged to keep the wife and the kids hostage. That word hostage is used during the year of Jubilee in order to get this male slave that's supposed to be set free to agree to stay. In fact, Exodus 21 verse 4, if his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. The he here is the slave being set free. Are you guys feeling the heat? Are you sweating? Does this bother you? It should. No, seriously, I think it's good. I think it's good as somebody growing in their faith to feel the heat once in a while, as long as you are one, and I think if you're listening to this podcast, you are one of these people, if you are one who goes out and gets the answers. Why do I say that? Because every time somebody throws something hardcore in your face like this, and guys, if you're like me, this one made me sweat. It gave me a sick feeling in my stomach, like, oh, Lord, I mean, is this true? Do you really support slavery and treating people like this? Holding families hostage? Keeping people in your home, on your property, as property themselves? Having sexual rights over your property, these slaves? Seriously? Now, the longer you're with the Lord, and the longer you, or the more times you have been exposed to an argument that seriously kicks you in the shins pretty hard and gives you that sick feeling in your stomach. And then, after you have experienced this horrible feeling, you're able to find out the truth. And suddenly everything is cleared up and you're like, oh, this release comes over you and you realize that God is all that and that this accusation, these lies, these arguments are washed away and you're going, oh, praise God, that is not on my shoulders anymore. The more times that happens to you, the more times, the more likely you are that when you're exposed to these hardcore arguments, you stomach them and you say, okay, I've been through this before and I'm going to get through this. I'm not going to let this faze me. And you respond to the atheist, the non-Christian, the pagan, the whatever it is, by saying, that's a pretty big concern, and I recognize that. I don't have an answer for you, but I'm really interested in looking into that. And any normal thinking person will respect that. And then you get into it, you look it up, and you figure it out. But you're not bothered by it as much anymore because you've been through this. And I'm on this long rabbit trail here. So, moving on. Okay, wait, let's not move on. I just want to assure you guys, we're going to talk about all of that and so much more in this series, okay? We're going to get to every single aspect of slavery that you can find in the Bible. I had so much fun studying up for this series because I answered a lot of questions that have been burning at me for a long time. And I'm going to cover everything, okay? So it's coming. Anyway, on this Conversational Atheist website, I saw a couple things some arguments that he claims theists or Christians make. I don't know if these are straw men. Has he actually gotten these arguments? I don't know. Or are these straw men? If you guys don't know what a straw man is, it's basically when somebody, and Christians do this too, when somebody makes up a counter argument in their head and then beats it down and destroys it and then acts like they've refuted whoever they're arguing against. So, in other words, it's kind of like when an atheist says something silly like, Christians don't believe that species change. They don't believe in genetic change. And then they, move forward to refute this supposed claim of Christianity. Or I've had this one thrown in my face. Oh, you don't believe that dinosaurs even existed. Wait, what? And then they go ahead and move on to refute my supposed argument. Wait, I never said that. Anyway, are these straw men or simply just bad Christian arguments? He says that some Christians claim that in the face of slavery, they say something like, but that's an Old Testament practice and it no longer applies. Actually, I could see some Christians saying that. That's not true. In the New Testament, slavery is talked about too. But anyway, perhaps Christians make that argument, perhaps not. I think most thinking Christians wouldn't say that. Anyway, all right. Let's go ahead and stop right there. So, basically, I have taken and I've given you all kinds of hard questions and utterly destroyed your faith. And now several of you are going to lose your faith overnight. And here I am stopping the podcast right here. Okay, guys, I plan to thoroughly kick every stone, turn over every rock, and explore every single one of these issues. I am going to answer all of them completely, and we're going to look at so much more before this series is up. This probably will be a little bit longer of a series, but I intend on answering everything concerning slavery in the Bible. I feel that this issue is so serious and so potentially dangerous to a Christian's faith, as well as something that holds back unbelievers from accepting the truth of the Bible. If I have to put this series in danger of being slightly boring at times in order to make sure that every last question is answered, I'm going to do it. And no, this will not be boring. I don't think there will be a single time at which you're like, okay, you're beating a dead horse, this is getting old. No, we're going to answer everything. And if you're anybody even close to like me, you're going to find this fascinating because, not many Christians are really looking into this. I think this is an issue that people are afraid to touch. Well, we're going to get it. We're going to hit this hard. We're going to look at every issue and make sure nothing is left unanswered. And if I do leave something out, please, make sure then I'm completely done with this series. And if you find that I've left something out, let me know, and I will add to the series. So anyway, with that, you guys can leave comments and questions on youthapologeticstraining.com. Also, you can hook up with me on Facebook and Twitter. And once again, guys, especially this series, let's share this. Share this message with anybody that you think is going to benefit from hearing this. So with that, I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.